students, myself Dr. Shirisha from CSE Department, MLR Institute of Technology. So as we have completed what is Android Studio and how the Android Studio installation will be done, and also we have seen different building blocks, SDKs, and also what is the emulator, okay, what are various building blocks, and what is the debugger we have seen, okay. So this all we have covered in the first unit along with the sample application of how to run an Android application. So this is Android application design essentials, where we are going for the second unit. We are going to cover all these topics like Android application design essentials will cover first terminologies like what is the APK file, like how to deploy your application once your application is ready. You need a APK file, okay, where it binds everything together as a single file and it can be deployed into our Android phones. And OR class, so what is the use of OR class? OR is a resource where it accesses the resources. So as we all know, the resources are nothing but we have drawable values, okay, maps and layouts. So all those four we have to extract them from the XML to our Java. So for that we need a OR class that we are going to discuss. Then view and find view by ID. So whatever the resources we have created, so those resources can be extracted to your Java by using find view by ID. View is a view component, where this view component will take all the components that we are going to give in the Android XML file. Like we have to give edit text, we have to give view, okay, text view, buttons, okay, scrolling, radio button, and checkboxes, like that. Whatever the components we have, so all that we will be discuss about the view group. Actually, this is a view. And application context, so we need several contexts to display some messages and what is happening in between the applications, like there is a log about that. So that will be toast. Toast is nothing but to display a message, like a it will enable the message for a particular time. It will display the message and it will disable. Locket is where it displays all the logs. And thirdly, we will discuss about the activities, activity creation, lifecycle states. We have different, first we have to write the activity for the design part, then the activity for the business logic, right? So how to create activities we'll see, and the lifecycle state, what are the different states of life cycle of Android, where you have to start, you have to stop, you have to run, you have to pause it, okay. So like that different states we'll talk about, and lifecycle state sample application also we'll see. Then creating emulator, so how to create an emulator, like we have seen to some extent in our first unit, how to install a device, how to create a device of emulator. Then APK file generation running techniques, working with XML and Java file. So this is the overview of whatever we are going to discuss in the unit 2. So coming to the first one, view class. View class represents the basic building block for user interface components. So what is a user interface component? You have a layout, and in this layout, this is an Android device where you can see one application, and if you open this application, you will have suppose name to be given. Say I'll take a registration page, something like this, and password if you wanted to type. So some text has to be displayed. Then you want a box where the user inputs something. Here the user inputs. So what is happening here is the class represents the basic building block for user interface components. We'll write all these components, whatever we want to display in our layout, in the XML. So for this XML to access to your Java, we need a class. So this is nothing but your view class, okay. The view occupies a rectangular area on the screen, is responsible for drawing and also event handling. So where you design using a drop down, or you can also design using a code. So whatever you do, we have several event handling. That means you have a submit button here. So when you click on the submit button, what should happen? Another layout, another activity should get open. So that means what? When a button is clicked, some action is getting performed. So that is nothing but event handling. So that can be handled by this class. View is a base class for all the widgets that we are going to use, which are used to create interactive UI components. Say buttons, text, fields, edit text, okay, checkboxes, radio button, drop down list, scrolling, everything. Okay, everything that we are going to use in the activity. So here we are talking about same view component in terms of the layouts. So what is a layout actually? A layout defines a structure for a user interface. So when you are taking an Android phone, so whatever it is displayed on top of Android phone is nothing but a layout. So this is a layout. So whatever the content you're displaying, where it should display, you have to customize. The user application will customize that. So that is what the user interface in your app. Okay, such as in an activity. So what is this activity? Activity is what you design. So in this layout, this is a complete layout where you write activity to display, to design. You need activity to design and also for writing a business logic. So what are these two? Activity to design, where you wanted a front end. What is to be done when something is clicked or something? So that is a business logic. So this is how your layout have to execute it. All elements in the layout are built using a hierarchy of view and view group objects. Okay, so you have this using a view and view group object. So view is a class where it binds everything, every component that we are going to use in XML. View group is also defined as whatever the components that you are using. So it has to group everything, then only we can make use of them. That UI interface will build. So that is the use of view and view group. So view usually draws something the user can see and interact with. So that is the design part. Whereas view group is an invisible container. That means whatever you are using, whatever the components you are using, that it binds, but you cannot see what is view group there. There is no particular class. Just it is invisible container that defines a layout structure for view and other view objects. So this is the hierarchy where it shows you what is a view group. View group will be the base class for your all other views. So view group can also contain a set of view groups which contains other view components, and it also contains view group along with the view components. So this is what your view group, where it is an invisible container. This cannot be seen. That here view class can be seen and can be organized based upon the components that you are using in the activity.xml. Then you can declare layouts in two ways. So how many ways you can declare the layout? So declare UI layouts in the XML corresponding to view classes, okay, and subclasses. So you will use those classes for getting the widgets and layouts. And you can also use Android Studio's layout editor. So what is this layout editor? So let me show you what is the difference between this declare UI elements using a view class and the layout editor. Okay, so I'll take some Android application. So what will happen here in the Android application is this is the code where you write. So whatever the code you are writing, you are able to see that in the design part, right? So this is the design part. So what is that you are giving Android text and the text is displayed. So this drag and drop is nothing but, so drag and drop means only, so suppose if you wanted to take design. So if you have something like button, so if you wanted to drag button and put it here, so you will getting a button and you are changing, you can change the content of this button also. So like this, customizing this is nothing but, dragging and dropping is nothing but your layout. So that's the layout editor. Okay, and the view class and subclasses, suppose if you could see, if I change that into code, then you could see here, you could view the text view and also the button. As we have dropped their button, you are getting directly the code for button. Okay, but button is not required for this program. And here if you see, public class main activity is your Java class which extends app compact activity, where it makes use of set content view. Set content view is a method which is there in the app compact activity. So it is grouping everything. So whatever you are writing the components here, all the components are grouped together using the view group, and that you can access using several methods or interfaces into your Java. So that is about the layout editor. Then instantiate layout elements at runtime. So how to instantiate the layout editor during the runtime is when you create a view and view group objects or manipulate their properties programmatically. So what is happening when you are giving a view or text view, then what you are giving here, Android, which is an XML namespace, layout width, layout underscore width. This is a property. So here you can give which is layout underscore width is, you can either give match parent, or you can also give Android. For everything, for every property you will get Android as a prefix, as that is XML namespace, then layout underscore height, that is equals to say, you can also give match parent or you can also give wrap content, okay, according to the requirement. So what all these two? These are the properties. And not only two, there are, based upon the components that we are going to use, there are several different properties we have. So those properties are customized based upon the requirement of the user for creating the application. So that is what you can initialize or instantiate, initialize your layout elements based upon the given properties. Then view group. So view group is a subclass, is a base class for your layouts. So as we have seen the hierarchy, we have all the view group and views on top of or below your view, right? View group. So that is what your view group may contain a set of view groups or also the set of views, which are invisible containers that hold other views. So how you can access that in your Java? Public class view. View extends the object, what are the object that you wanted to define that, or it implements what, as it is taking the hierarchies of all the objects. So it is taking drawable callback. These are basic examples that I'm giving. Drawable callback, key event, accessibility event resources. Drawable is just to take the images. Okay, just to define images of say background or some image has to be displayed in the application. In such cases you use a drawable. So where is drawable.call? So it is in your view class is using this drawable callback properties. Key event. Suppose if you press a key, or if you, when you are pressing a key, then some event has to be accessed. So to implement that event, what you have to do for that, you need some sort of classes. So here key event is taking of callback. So this is the object. Key event is object which is taking you the callback. So similarly, accessibility event source. So what are the events that you can access them? So where all these are defined, you could see here. If you see the view group, you can go to developer.android.com. So here we have a set of elements or set of documentation that is showing you how to develop your views. So here if you see what is view, so here what this object is doing, which packages you are using. So we are using java.lang.object. Okay, android.view.view. So this is a class where every view is defined. Okay, under this only we have several subclasses and also indirect subclasses. So if you could see here, this class represents a basic building block of user components, and it's a subclass for the layouts also, which is an invisible container. So you could have set property. You can also set property. You can also set focus, where your cursor can go to the current position and from where you can enter the text. So it is to handle the moving focus to response the user input. Okay, and setup listener is on focus change listener. So this is the event handler. So when you give on click event handler will be there. Okay, so like that you have to set up the listeners. You can set up the visibility also. Okay, for this, what are the methods that we have is set visibility, set on change focus. So set visibility, if you click on that, you will get what is the syntax of that. There are the different parameters. So what are the values that you pass to this visibility? One is visible, invisible, gone. Okay, these are the three values that you can assign. So whatever you will take for that, everything is defined in this documentation actually. So that is the importance of this object or drawable and callback also we have in this view component. So we have so many, but to so what extent we are using, only to that extent we can just see. So this is the example that I wanted to show you about this objects. So this drawable dot callback, these are all the properties that we are going to use. How to define a button? So button is also a part of your view group. Okay. So you could view a button. How to view a button? Either you can use a layout editor, that means you can drag and drop, or you can code it using the button component. So define a button in the layout file using the unique ID. So we have to give the unique ID. So here button is a component, and then this button is closed here. Okay, and what are these 1 2 3 4, these 4 are the properties. There are 4 properties. Android colon ID, you have to give @ID my button. What is my button here? It is an ID. Layout width. What is layout width? Wrap content. Layout height, wrap content. Why we give wrap content is when you have a layout, if you wanted to give hello, okay, so where this hello is getting printed, only that space is occupied, that space is used by the layout. So to wrap around the text or to wrap around the content that we are giving, we have to define it as the width as wrap content. Okay, height also wrap content. So height means how much text size you are giving, so that much only it has to take the height of that particular text, particular button. Similarly, text is just, it is taking @ string. My button text is the text that is displayed here, or user defined. You can change that, customize that. Then from the onCreate method of an activity, find the button. So when you define this in the XML part and in the Java part, how you are going to use in the Java? So by using find view by ID. So button is a class where my button is the name of the button. Okay, name of the button or the object that you are creating, my button. Find view by ID is a method where it extracts this button, my button, whatever the name you give. Suppose here ID, what is ID? My button. So this ID, my button, is extracted into your find view by ID method using resource dot ID dot my button. What is my button? The name of your ID that you have given in the XML. So what is this? This is your XML code with 4 properties. This you can access into your Java using the find view by ID method. So how the elements or components of your XML can be extracted to your Java is by using this find view by ID method. So building a simple user interface, we have user interface for an Android application which is built as a hierarchy of layouts and widgets. Again same. So layouts means, user interface means we are talking about view group. View group means again view components. So view group objects, containers that control how the child views are positioned on the screen. Suppose you have a layout. I want at the right top corner, I want to print it as a hello. So I have to customize this in such a way it will print there only. Or else if you wanted to print it at the center of the layout, then this is also at the center. Now that is your view group, view object. UI components such as buttons and text boxes. So if you are giving a submit button, so this is a button. So where you need this button, so you have to customize. So like that, everything can be done using the view object and view group objects. So this is already I have shown you by going to developers.android.com. So you can visit this developer.android.com. So what happens if you go to developer.android.com, you can go to docs and see everything, what are the classes and interfaces that are there which support your different classes and API. What are the APIs we have? We can see it here. So this is about the public abstract class view group. Under view group, which is extending your view class, which is implementing view parent, view manager, whatever. So it is making a hierarchy. Okay, so view group is a base class for the view class. So this is a hierarchy of how your view component is taking care. View, maybe view or view group, it is taking a image, maybe a image view, maybe a text view. Image view is used to display the images. Text view to get to display a text. Wherever we have view, it is used to display text. View group, which groups all the components or layouts, components and layouts. So here view group is binding all these layouts together. This text view is again, button is defined, button is also defined, one more component. This is for event handling. Okay, text view to view. So we just see what are the components that we have seen. Here we have seen a sample program where we have taken a XML part, and here if we wanted to display a text, okay, some text I know it to display. So as you all know how to come to this page where this is the editor where you have given a XML code. So we are giving a text view component under the constraint layout. Okay, and constraint bottom, constraint width, layout height, and layout constraint bottom, the text. So all these are the different properties of your text view component. So text view component, all the components that you are defined here are taking care of your view and view group. So this is binded to your main class. So your main class activity is extending what? App compact activity. So app compact activity is a class where all these APIs, suppose if you could see here, put your cursor on that. So it will give you what are the packages that it supports, app-content.app, okay. Then public class app-con, which is extending what? Your fragment activity, and also your callback, stack builder, support parentable. So all these are the different interfaces you have here. Okay, so this is all. You can just go to your developer options and you can go through what are the different APIs you have in the interfaces you have defined in the app compact activity. All that our main activity can be used. So on create as a method is binding, and super.onCreate, it saves all the instances of wherever it is binded, and set content view is a method that is going to display using r.layout.activity main. Okay, so we have taken an emulator. So when you run your emulator, you could see your Gradle build is running here. Okay, it is running, it is progressing. So when you are selecting your emulator, just select the emulator and you have to print it here. So here you could see your app is showing the status, okay, what is happening. So your Gradle build is showing you it is launching an app on Pixel XL API 33, as we have selected that emulator here. Okay, so still it is waiting for all target devices to come online, so it takes time. So that are running here. Okay, and if you see in the resources, in the layout, you have this activity underscore main which we have run here. And main activity.java you have in the Java main activity. So this is defined here. If you see the manifest file also, the particular file, manifest file, is talking about your application, complete application, where what are the icons you have to use and what label should be given. So everything is defined here. Okay. And about the activity, so we are talking about main activity here. So that dot main activity is given as a name for the activity and it is exported. Yes, true. And you have an intent filter, so where it defines from activity to activity. So it has taken a main activity should be launched, so that that page will be launched there. Okay, so this is how you execute the program. Okay, still waiting for all the target devices to come online, but this is an emulator where it is showing, where it can show you the output, but it takes a large it takes memory, it consumes so much memory. So what you do is you can just see the execution using the USB cable. So that also I'll show you in the next coming classes. And manifest file, there is no need to write anything in the manifest file. It will be defined. If you wanted to customize anything apart from this, then you can change the code and you can put the content here. So these are all the event handlers: on, cancel, pending, inputs. These are all the event handlers that we have for your event handlers. So these are the methods you have under this custom view. Okay, on measure, on draw, on size change, on key down, on key up. What are all? These are all the event processing. These are the drawing methods: on, draw. Okay, called when view should render its content, and on key down whenever the key is pressed, then that event will be occurred. Like that, everything for everything. Hover event when your cursor is over to the some content, so you're getting a line here. So hover event. So on focus, attaching. Okay, and you create a button. When you create a button, you're giving a ID. So this is on create method. On create, find view by ID will take the ID from the resource, as we have discussed. So like that, we can customize based upon this reference. Okay, and let us see whether we have got this. So it is launching app. This is how your emulator will run. You can change the particular devices according to the emulator that we are using. Therefore, your layout is getting changed. Okay, so that's about the view and view components.